This is the one to consider. 19-inch wheels, beautiful soul red crystal, all the technology, beautiful perforated leather interior, and of course the inline 6-cylinder turbo under the hood. What's up everybody, I'm Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise, Alabama, and you can see over my left shoulder my favorite color, soul red crystal, and this is the 24 CX-90 Preferred Plus. And we're of course gonna go inside, gonna go outside, gonna go all the way around so that you can see why this one is the one for you. So let's jump in. More car vids. More car vids. Let's get started up front on this beautiful Preferred Plus. This is the third step up or walk up in your trims and packages on this standard inline 6. So you have the Select, the Preferred, and then the Preferred Plus. And this is kind of that middle range that has a lot of the equipment and materials that we're wanting. So this is the one that Mazda seems to be producing the most of here recently, other than the initial Premium Pluses that have been coming out. This one is right around $48,000 and a good price point when you come from the CX-9, and has a lot of those amenities, including new technology and of course brand new styling. So you can see that this one has your 19-inch wheels. These are the same size that comes on the Select and up until you get to the higher trims, which go to 21. So 19 is now the standard wheel size. You can also see that this one has a power moonroof, which is available on the Preferred and this Preferred Plus, and a few other amenities on the outside. But the silver or satin finish rails tie in well with these silver wheels, aluminum alloy wheels, multi-spoke for a good design. Of course, everything else is pretty similar up front, except for the ones we've talked about before have had a little bit of extra technology here with the sensors, but the bones are the same. So you still have the LED mixed headlights there. Of course, you have some vents that push a little air through as you're driving down the road. Your LED daytime runners and turn signals carried into the grille there. You can also see your active grille shutters back there against the radiator, and a lot of space there for that breathing in this beautiful grille. And I just love the styling here. It kind of has that in that grille, that little wave kind of for that propulsion or that longitudinal look. And of course you do have a very long hood with the two body lines in it to give it a little bit of extra Kodo design. Also, you can see kind of that Kodo as well in the sheet metal side here on the side, the styling and design. These are a good Toyo tire open country, which is on this 19-inch wheel. And of course you have the inline 6 standard badging here, which ties in well to the cladding. This one of course has your plastic cladding and also has some other plastic accents around the windows. And LED turn signals built in here with your blind spot monitor and rear cross traffic, which is standard. Of course, all of your i-Activsense safety features are standard with the camera up front. Also the radar sensor in the emblem, which is actually used for smart brake support, and your Mazda radar cruise control, which is standard across the line. But starting on this one, you actually get automatic speed limiter. So as you have that set, it will also pull back a little bit for what you need or what you don't need at the time. Also, advanced keyless entry, as you can see, it just unlocked here, is something that is incorporated across the line. And we'll jump inside and look at this beautiful leather in just a minute. The walkaway lock, I believe, is turned on for this, so we may see that in a minute. So we go to the back here. Of course, you have the rear little spoiler design there, rear wiper, and not as big as the CX-9, but more traditional once you get past the D-pillar here, and you see the styling for the big headlights, or excuse me, tail lights. And of course we know that on this trim, just this is functional and an LED component. This one also has your power rear liftgate, which is included on this and the Preferred. And some extra storage underneath here, tire tools, little bit of extra storage here on the side. And this one happens to be an 8-passenger, so you can get captain's chairs in the second row, but you see this is 3, 3, and 2. So we have 8-passenger. Of course, this is a 50-50 split, and that's a 60-40. So you can have passengers or cargo. Again, that $48,000 price point. This has got a lot of features, especially upgraded amenities on the inside. And while we're talking about that, you can see that this vehicle is designed to be very comfortable for the first and second row for most adults riding in that. And then we know not much space in that third row, but very accommodating for child-size passengers. So all 3 would have to be children to ride in that back seat. Of course, this being our new flagship crossover is designed for 1 or more drivers. And I think regardless if you have anyone riding the third row or not, this is a ride that you would definitely appreciate. And up in the cards, you'll see a couple of test drive videos. The first one, of course, on the same powertrain here. And it is so enjoyable to drive up and down the road with the kinematic posture control that eliminates some body roll. This one has less body roll than the CX-5, and you know I love the CX-5, but this one, to be as big as it is, handles better. And since we were talking about inside, let's go ahead and jump in. First thing you notice is this door card, and you do have this faux wood design, which looks really upscale and ties in really well with the interior. Of course, your cross stitching here makes it very nice. Power windows, power mirrors, and locks. Very similar design to what we see in the CX-50 and CX-30. As we look across the dash here, we still have these vertical vents, and you can see this soft touch material carried across the dash is different than what we're accustomed to. You do have kind of a contrast color in here, but this is some of the differences that you'll see as you work up to those premiums and premium pluses. Also, a leather wrap steering wheel with the same designs that we're accustomed to. This one has your, instead of the full display, it's got your 7-inch display, LED or LCD right here in the center. So it has all that information and a digital speedo. Also, you have an active driving display that's upgraded on the Preferred Plus, so you can see all that stuff, and it's the same size active driving display all the way up, so one of the biggest that Mazda's ever offered. Of course, you also upgrade to this big screen here, and this one actually upgrades to Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is a wireless connection, as well as Qi wireless charging right here. So I'm going to go ahead and crank this up just to show you a few things here. And so you can see that screen right here, very similar to what we see on the Mazda 3, CX-30, CX-50, and that center display, so you can scroll through all your different features. Here's the i-Activsense screen with the digital speedometer. As you go back to this one, if you turn on your cruise control, it defaults to that setup there, so you can see the distance and scroll through there to see how you have it set for that radar portion. So I'll turn that off. Also, you can see the door ajar. It does have some color display, how many miles to empty, the current temperature at 79, all those good things. And then of course the add or the upgrade to wireless CarPlay in this big display here, and still have the same styling and outlay. I love these little piano key touches for the temperature. And this one has heated seats only, so 3-stage in both of these seats. Of course, dual climate air, 3 drive modes, so you have normal, sport, and off-road. This one actually upgrades to the 5,000-pound towing. So if you add a Mazda wiring harness and hitch, it would add the tow mode as well. Downhill assist control right here. And then, of course, the electronic shifter, kind of a joystick there. and our commander control knob with the same features we're accustomed to. And I love this design right here. I just appreciate this interior, or some of these interior amenities. Also, I really appreciate these USB-Cs. You've got 2 here, 2 in the rear, and we'll look at that in just a minute. And I do think that this dark, soft touch material or vinyl here with the contrast stitching is good, because this is where you're going to get a lot of touches, and so it's not the same as this leather here. So this is going to be very durable and stay a lot cleaner through all the hands and arms and things being on it, which I can appreciate. Also, you have this day-night mirror here, and if you like seeing more of me and more Mazda vehicles and videos, please, I would appreciate a subscribe if you'd click there and click on notifications, so that every time I upload, you'll be notified and can catch the latest Mazda news. You also have these LED interior lights here. And of course, just to open it up, since we've been accustomed to the panoramic roof on these, it actually opens up about the same distance as the panoramic roof, maybe just a little bit more on this standard moonroof, which again is on the Preferred and this Preferred Plus. And of course, the beautiful leather seating with the perforations make them a lot more comfortable to me, and I really appreciate that. Now let's jump back here and check out this 8-passenger second row. As you open this up, part of what I was talking about before is just a big door, big space on the CX-30, a lot of room. So second row passengers really have as much room as the front row passengers, and very accommodating for passengers, cargo, car seats, anything of that nature. And of course, you have your sunshades here that'll keep the sun out. Same trim pieces here and materials to keep it upscale. Same leather seating and design back here. And this is the first 8-passenger that I've seen. So of course, we have this feature here that we're accustomed to on the CX-9, the one-touch button there, and to get to this third row, which is very convenient. And while we're taking a look back there, you can also see air vents and USB-Cs back here for those passengers, so very convenient. And here's a look. Of course, if you're that third passenger, you're not going to have much room, but 2 people could be very comfortable. And of course, you just have to position your feet accordingly. However, if the second row passenger will give up some of their leg room, you can have a little bit more leg room, and I'm sure you can appreciate that. Also, we have addition of new airbags here in the outboard of these passengers. So you have chest and shoulder protection here, as well as the curtain. And that's an upgraded safety feature that we haven't seen on many vehicles until the last couple of years. So I'm glad Mazda's going that direction. Also have your LED lights here. Of course, your handles and clothes hanger connection there for carrying clothes around or what have you. And the 2 USB-Cs I mentioned with your rear air vents, and of course your control for your rear air right here. And your big wide armrest can fold down with cup holders, which is really nice. And then of course room for this middle passenger is more accommodating than the third row. And I'm sitting pretty much straight up right now. But one of the good features is that you can recline this seat as well once I get it loose there. So you can see it's very comfortable, and you can get any position you like. This one over here is already pretty much reclined. And so a lot of room right here. I think you can definitely appreciate that. And I had plenty of room up front, how that was set up before. So definitely something you should consider for multiple passengers. But that's part of the appeal of this size vehicle. Now, before we finish up our conversation, we do need to take a look under the hood. This is where all the magic happens. Of course, we've shown this before, and I'm going to leave it covered for now, but this is that inline 6 turbo, and of course, going into a clutch from the engine, then to a electric motor for takeoff, and of course, the intercooled turbo on this engine gives you 280 horsepower, 332 foot-pounds of torque. which is very impressive going up and down the road. Again, I would refer you to that test drive video that I had on the Premium Plus that we have as our loaner. And everything's real clean. This is kind of how a lot of upscale manufacturers are getting. You don't get to see much. So you do have some clear fluid containers. Can't really see much of that, but your battery and everything is kind of encased in here, just so it's not a distraction or in the way. Of course, Mazda prefers you to have it serviced and maintained at a Mazda dealership. And this engine with the 0W20 can actually go to 10,000 mile service intervals or oil change intervals. But of course, some at 5,000 is still recommended, especially for good tire wear. But that electric motor then feeds to a clutch and to the 8-speed transmission, which is very smooth once you get past that initial takeoff. And I don't have a personal issue with that initial takeoff. I know a lot of people have asked about it, but once you get going, there's just a little hesitation and then it's off to the races. Of course, this is also rear-wheel drive first, so there's really about 95% of your torque all the time in the rear until the i-Active all-wheel drive predicts that you need more. Keeps about 5% or so up front here, but then it will shift all the way to 50-50 if necessary. But that just adds to the driving dynamics of this vehicle on all traction, all surfaces, whether or not you expect it or intend that you'll need it. It's going to be there to have your back. Also, this setup gets 25 combined, 28 city fuel economy, and I think that's something you'll appreciate on this size vehicle. And I'm really curious to get him out and drive, especially with the 19-inch wheels. Not sure how long this one will be here, but we are having more come in now. So the 19-inch wheels versus the 21, just curious how that instant fuel economy will measure up. And I do want to get this vehicle back out, if possible, in the sunlight, because that Sewell red will really sparkle in the sunlight. Until then, I think that wraps it up on this conversation of the Preferred Plus. I am Jonathan Sewell Sales at Mitchell Mazda on the Boulevard in Enterprise. If you have any questions, you can always drop them down below or text me at 334-718-0504. So what do you think? Is the Preferred Plus on your radar? Has a lot of neat information and availability as far as equipment. And I think that if you're coming from a CX-9, this is a very good choice with some upgrades from most CX-9s. And of course, it's a beautiful Mazda.